Take a deep breath and think about how much time you will possibly free up if you were to eliminate all distractions from your life and business. And most importantly, what will you do with that time? Will you spend more time with your kids? Will you spend time with your cats? Will you spend time working on projects that will move the needle forward for your business? Or would you simply use your time to catch up on sleep or do something else that will make you feel most alive? Whatever that is, I'm going to share with you how you can reclaim your time back by eliminating all the distractions from your life and business using a tool called the Distraction Matrix. Before I dive in, I want to talk about the pandemic that the overall human population is experiencing. And I'm not talking about COVID, I'm talking about the pandemic of us living in the most distracted era known to humankind. And every single day, especially if you run a business, I see people inundated with reactivity, notifications, distractions, and all the things that's causing them to be impulsive and not actually performing as the most focused and most productive version that it can be. And especially if you run a business, that would cause your performance to die a death by 1,000 cuts. And that's why before we even talk about how it can be productive by adding more things onto your schedule or cramming more productive things to do onto your to-do list, let's talk about the key to alleviating overwhelm, which is through elimination. And the reason why we're talking about elimination instead of addition is because tightly scheduled entrepreneurs have no space to transform themselves. And if our schedules are already inundated with distractions, low value tasks, and things that should not be taking our time, then all we'll end up is to try to play a finite game by trying to work faster, hustle harder, and rush through things, only to find ourselves arriving at the end of the day and look back and have no idea what we've actually spent time on and can't put a finger on what has actually been accomplished. So rather than trying to scatter our focus and just run across different things, let's talk about what we can remove so that we can actually focus on the vital few things that will actually move the needle forward for our business and our life. And that brings me to the distraction matrix that I'm going to share with you today. Because every single entrepreneur wants to be more productive. And the reason why is because time and attention is your scarcest resource. It's not your team, it's not your bank account, it's not your systems, it's not your software, it's not your intellectual property. It is your time and attention as the business owner. And with that being said, our time and attention are typically lost to four things. And they are psychological roadblocks. Number two, they are biological roadblocks. And number three, they are low value obligations or distractions in business and low value obligations or distractions in life. And let's break them down together. The first thing that we want to do here is to audit the delta between our ideal weekly structure and how our weeks actually play out in the current moment. If you want to look at my guide on how to create your ideal weekly structure using, I call it the Big Week Blueprint, you can simply check out the video that I'm going to link right here. Assuming that you've already have an idea of what a perfect week will look like for you, then the first question that you've got to ask yourself is, what's keeping me from living out that perfect week? And then look back at all the obstacles that stood in the way over the last 14 days. And these obstacles, again, fall under these four categories. And let's tackle them one by one by one. First off, it will be psychological roadblocks. So again, a lot of our time is lost to not external things, but internal thoughts. And these could be triggers. So psychological roadblocks could be triggers for overthinking, triggers for procrastination, triggers for analysis paralysis, or triggers that causes you to get into an emotional state where it is impossible for you to be high performing or productive. Whatever those things are, you want to list them out and most importantly, jot down the triggers that's causing you to go into those states. So for example, analysis paralysis. Kept thinking about starting YouTube, but thoughts blocking myself. Here's an example. Another psychological roadblock would be, let's say, overthinking or procrastination. Whenever I have to confront a hard conversation with a team member, with a client, or with a prospect, whatever that is. So whenever you find yourself recurrently losing time to psychological roadblocks, you want to jot them down and really raise awareness on where time is being lost to due to things that's happening in your mind. Now let's move on to the second type of roadblock, which are biological roadblocks. So this goes back to the principle of energy management being 10 times more important than time management, because again, we can't really manage time, but we can manage our energy and what we allocate our energy towards. So biological roadblocks signify all roadblocks that's causing you to lose time due to suboptimal energy. And these could be brain fog, energy slumps throughout the day, or periods throughout the day where you just can't perform productively simply because of you having low energy or are dwelling in a suboptimal biological state. And what you want to do here is to describe what's actually happening when you're losing time due to biological roadblocks and what can potentially be causing these roadblocks to happen. So, for example, you can talk about midday energy slumps being a biological roadblock, or brain fog around 6 to 7 p.m., whatever it is. So what you want to do then is to think about, okay, what's actually causing me to experience these biological roadblocks? Midday energy slumps, for example, maybe it's because of you working from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. without taking a single break and proceeding to eat a heavy meal full of carbs and saturated fats, whatever that is. And let's say the reason why you typically experience brain fog around 6 to 7 p.m. is because of dehydration or lack of movement, as in you don't walk around the house or you don't take breaks and take some fresh air and absorb some sunlight for a day, and you've just been sitting in front of your computer, in front of your work desk for 8 hours straight, and you're not even drinking enough water. And the lack of movement, sunlight, and hydration is causing you to experience brain fog around 6 or 7 p.m. to a point where you can't possibly work or function. So whatever biological roadblock you're experiencing, you want to first describe it and identify it, and then examine what is actually causing the roadblock to occur. And now, let's go from the left side of the quadrant to the right side of the quadrant. So the right side of the quadrant would be activities that's actually happening tangibly. So again, psychological and biological roadblocks, you can't really see it externally. You can only feel it in your mind and in your body. And on the other hand, the distractions or roadblocks on the right side of the quadrant are tangible roadblocks that's actually happening in your schedule. So the first thing that we want to tackle here will be all of the low value tasks that you're spending time on in your business. And these can be tasks that you want to eliminate, automate, or delegate. And again, I run a business that's doing around $500,000 per year, and the only way that I can stay sane and have a life whilst running a $500,000 per year business is to be really diligent on what I spend my time on, and most importantly, what I do not spend my time on. So again, whatever you're spending time on that you feel isn't moving needle forwards or should not be on your schedule, you want to list them out on this quadrant. So for example, let's say checking an endless stream of emails, notifs, and DMs in the morning, for example. Or let's say your time is lost because you are watching over your team, micromanaging, or putting out fires, correcting errors. Let's have a third example. Let's say you're losing time in your business because you are context switching too much between projects, to-dos, and notifications. So there are other roadblocks, and apart from these patterns that you can see from how you tackle your daily schedule in your business, you can also list out all of the tasks that you want to automate or delegate. So calendar management, content editing, prospecting, pipeline management, funnel building, etc. You want to also make note of what you can delegate and what you're currently spending time on that's not worth your time, so that you can then make a plan to actually delegate or automate or straight eliminate all of these low value tasks, so that what you will be left with will be time that you can spend on key metrics or profit producing activities that actually give you your highest output or highest return on time. So again, in the quadrants of low value business, you want to go ahead and, number one, spot patterns of how you are tackling your work schedule every single day and why it is suboptimal. And secondly, what you're actually spending time on that you should not be spending time on as the founder or the CEO of your business. Now, let's move to the fourth and final quadrant, which is low value life roadblocks. And now, there are a few things that we can cover in this quadrant. And the first thing would be negative or zero value inputs. So again, like these could be doom scrolling on Instagram too much, spending time with friends who should no longer be in your life, because again, negative or zero value inputs can come from media or people or anything that, again, causes you to consume information or spend time on things that actually do not provide value to your life or your business. Another thing they want to also tackle in this quadrant would be any obligations or chores that you feel isn't really lighting you up or isn't really giving you a favorable return on time. So these can be, again, chores. So spending time on lawn care, meal prepping, laundry, cleaning the house, whatever it is. So if you are someone who actually enjoys doing chores, again, no judgment. If it's something that lights you up and gives you energy, you can omit this from the quadrants. But for me, I really hate doing laundry. I hate cleaning dishes. I sometimes like cooking, but I sometimes don't. But so it's kind of like a love-hate relationship. I'm gonna put it here anyways. And what this will allow me to do is to then look at, number one, what I can do to eliminate all of these negative inputs, either media or people, from my life. And number two, what I can do to potentially delegate or automate all of the chores or all of the low value obligations or activities that's causing me to not be able to spend time outside of work doing what I actually enjoy most. So now that we've built out a version of this quadrant, we can then make a plan to eliminate all of these obstacles one by one by one by one by one. Again, the first thing to solving every single problem is obviously awareness and identification, which is what we've done right now. The second step after identification and awareness will be looking at causation and attribution. So as you look at all of these roadblocks that you've listed out in your destruction matrix, you want to then examine or analyze what is the cause behind them. So when it comes to analysis paralysis or overthinking, you want to look at potential mental blocks or limiting beliefs that's causing it. For example, fear of failure, or believing that like everybody would hate you if you start YouTube and talk about things that triggers people or talk about things that makes you feel like an imposter. Overthinking or procrastination when it comes to confronting hard conversations. This might be due to a belief caused by past experiences where you have lost a loved one or lost a relationship because you said something that you feel true to heart about, whatever it is. So again, if you can dig deep on the causes behind your psychological roadblocks and address those mental blocks and limiting beliefs or past traumas or whatever that's causing the psychological roadblocks to happen, then you'll be able to alleviate them and stop fighting against your psychology, but instead work with your psychology to be your most high-performing or most productive self. And now let's have some examples of what you can do to alleviate your biological roadblocks. So this can be about you examining your nutrition, or you examining your workout habits, or examining how you structure your morning and evening routines for peak sleep performance, whatever it is. The secret to solving every single problem is to know the causation behind it. And as you raise awareness towards the causation and attribution, you can then pinpoint the solution to solve those problems. Because again, diagnosis is 80% of problem solving. The 20% is actually about treatment and finding a solution. Let's move on to the right side of the quadrant, which is all of the things that's not worth your time that you're actually doing in your life and business. So again, I follow the ADE framework, which stands for automate, delegate, and eliminate. So whatever you're spending time on that should not be done at all, you simply want to make a plan to eliminate them and actually map out the actions that you can take to eliminate those roadblocks. So for example, if you're spending time with friends who should not be in your life, then you want to think about how you can actually remove them from your life, whether it be through a hard conversation or through slowly not responding to your DMs or whatever that is. And let's say if you are doom scrolling on Instagram too much, you can just simply eliminate this by turning on screensaver on your iPhone or on whatever smartphone that you're on, or straight up deleting the application. So that covers elimination. And now let's talk about automation and delegation. What I typically like to do here is to use another matrix called the delegation matrix, because whatever I want to delegate or automate in my life and business typically falls under these 4 quadrants: marketing, sales, fulfillment, and admin and operations. My life stuff will fall into admin and operations as well. And let's say, and some example will be calendar management, email management, email management, laundry, because again, I don't practice work-life balance, I practice work-life integration, and my personal operating system is as important as my business operating system. So how I operate my life is whatever is necessary for me to operate my life to be a high-performing business owner. I'm going to put this in as well. And as this list grows, I can then make a plan on what tasks to prioritize delegating right now and what tasks to put in my radar to delegate in the next 3 months, 6 months, or a year after. Because I do have to budget, because sometimes you have to budget around hiring an assistant or budget around hiring a housekeeper or helper, whatever that is. And what you want to do here is to list out all of the things that you want to delegate in marketing, sales, and fulfillment as well. So marketing can be content editing, sales can be pipeline management, fulfillment can be, let's say, customer support or tech help, whatever that is, depending on the type of business that you run. And as this list grows, again, as your awareness towards what can be delegated and automated increase, you can then actually plan towards executing a plan to delegate and automate whatever you've put on in this matrix. So that's what I have for you. This is how I will personally eliminate every single distraction or activity that's not worth my time in both my life and business. And as you go ahead and take action upon this, you will be surprised on the amount of time and energy that you can actually reclaim in your life and business, and most importantly, how life and business will be way more enjoyable and energy giving or life giving as you proceed to spare time without these distractions. So that's what I have for you. If this is helpful in any ways, feel free to like and hit subscribe. And if you have any questions or queries or takeaways around this video, feel free to drop it in the comments below. I will reply to it every single 24 hours. And that's it. Bye-bye.